Here we go, week 5, guys. Looks like the Rams are 2-2. The Eagles are 4-0. Want to go over key matchups, injuries to both sides, strengths, weaknesses, the nickel spot, certain players that are going to be out, certain players that are going to play. We're going to go over all of it and the NFC East in general towards the end of this video when the Eagles could actually win out this weekend. The second time this season where the Eagles could be the only winners. So you never know what could happen here, but let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? I hope everyone's enjoying their work week. I hope everyone is relaxing, doing their thing, and getting ready for the weekend because week 5 is here and definitely a lot to discuss between the Eagles and the Rams. Now, I went on some of the Rams websites and they have said some things about us that are just like, oh, the Eagles aren't playing up to par. They're not looking great. They're not looking, it's just, I feel like that's what's said about us every single week. Maybe the opposing team or their writers are always writing these things about us. But definitely want to go over the Rams quick and some of the matchups with the Philadelphia Eagles and what to expect here. I think first we need to find out if Cooper Kupp is actually playing because Puka Nacua is actually playing really well. Has really became that, has played like a really good receiver this year, and I think he's took a Cooper Kupp spot pretty nicely. Cooper Kupp, his health is up in the air. He's designated to return this week, but they are going to try him out and see if he could play. So that's kind of going to be up in the air. So if Puka Nacua is the only one that's going to be active for this game, I would think that he's just going to play on the outside. They might move him around. I don't know, but I think strictly he will play outside. If Cooper Kupp does play, I think Cooper Kupp might move around, maybe in the slot. And this is where I think that they might have a strength here because I don't think Bradley Roby is playing this week. I don't think he's playing starting nickel because he literally just got in the building. He's trying to learn the terminology, the defensive calls, all of that. I think this is going to – and look, if they start him, great. If they don't, then Bradbury will play on the inside for one more game. Josh Jobe will have the outside. As much as I'm not a fan of it at all, the Eagles might have to deal with this for one more game. I don't know if Bradley Roby is starting, so we'll see what happens with that. But like I said, if Cooper Kupp returns and if he's not 100% healthy, they're not just going to throw him in the game. If they feel like he just can't, just can't really do much of anything, and it's going to be a wasteful game where he's going to play in it hurt and, be even more hurt for the next coming weeks for the Rams and their offense. They're just going to sit him out at this point. So I think that's something to look over, and that's connected to the nickel spot with the Eagles. I don't know what's going on. Roby's only been in the building for a couple days, not long. So really depends, who's playing on the inside. I'm kind of done with Bradbury playing on the inside in the nickel spot. I don't know. It's just not his position. You just can't play it. We know the Eagles are not shadowing receivers. I think we already know that. They're just lining these guys up and letting them play, and that's it. So that's the news on Puka Nacua and Kupp. Cooper Kupp has a designated return this week. Now, to favor the Philadelphia Eagles, because I know the Eagles could throw on this team, Ahkello Witherspoon. If you guys remember Ahkello Witherspoon, he is one of the starting cornerbacks for the Rams. If you remember Ahkello Witherspoon from last year, he was a Pittsburgh Steeler where A.J. Brown had a few really good touchdowns. I think he burned Witherspoon on, 2 touchdowns for like 70-something yards, 73, 75 yards, something like that. So this is a favorited matchup for the Eagles where I think A.J. Brown is going to have another big game. He had, 175 yards. I forgot how many yards he had last week, but yeah, close to 200 yards last week. Did a really good job. I think this is another favorited matchup where Hurts is just going to throw it up, and we know that AJ Brown is better. So I say we could throw on this team definitely as being the weak point there, and obviously with the Eagles getting the running backs involved and the passing game as well, because I don't think they can cover everybody. The secondary isn't looking good as much as the Rams are 2-2 right now. Really, the last 3 games they've really kept it close with teams, really a score or less. So they haven't been really demolished this year at all. This is, the first game where it would be nice for the Eagles to have a comfortable game this week, but I think the Eagles could definitely throw on them, no doubt. I think Witherspoon is definitely not up to par against A.J. Brown, and that they're going to let somebody else cover him, I don't know, because I don't think this guy is going to be able to cover Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown, so we'll see what happens with that. Aaron Donald, obviously, okay? Most likely, as of right now, I mean, look, Kelsey's going to have to slide for protection, at least help with protection, most likely. Sua Opeta is playing in this game. Cam Jurgens is out for a few games. So, and I think Sua Opeta is very serviceable. I've said this a million times. Like, he's been in in this system with Jeff Stoutland for a few years. I think he'll be fine. I'm not really worried about it too much. And Aaron Donald is somebody that's going to get attention on the defensive line. So, I mean, I think the last time we faced him, or at least, a while ago, I think we did a pretty good job on him, running the trap game on him, and him really not being there really no production from him at all. But we'll see what happens in this game. Could be lining up to Sua Opeta, which he's apparently the weak point, because he's the backup, right guard right now for Cam Jurgens. So we'll see what happens. So you definitely have to account for him. So Kelsey's going to have a big task this year, slide to protection. You might have to, do double duty and make sure no one's blitzing, to make sure, so he might have to help out a little bit, maybe not fully, depending if he sees a blitz or not. So he might have to pick that up at times. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think we'll be fine there. Now, two stud rookies coming into this game. At least for the Rams, they have a very good left guard in Steve Avila, and has done a pretty good job this year. I think that matchup with Jalen Carter is going to be a good one. Carter has 20 pressures. I think he's the fourth highest rated defensive tackle this year when it comes to pressures. And I think Avila is going to have a lot on his hands, a lot to deal with Jalen Carter. And we'll talk about the defensive tackle position later because there are some injuries to that position. So that matchup should be really good. We have Alaric Jackson and Joe Noteboom. It looks like both of their left tackles are really banged up right now. And I think there's, and if I don't think both of these guys are playing at 100% at all. If one of them's not playing, then the second guy or first guy, whoever, is not playing at 100%. And obviously that'll be on, Josh Sweat, that has 16, I forgot how many pressures he's got, 16 pressures, something like that this year. So I think that matchup will be pretty good. So they're definitely banged up in that area. Compared to the Philadelphia Eagles right now, when it comes to the injuries, okay, now Fletcher Cox is going to be out this Sunday. I know that Tupelutu is dealing with that tricep injury, so I don't know if he's ruled out yet. But Fletch is definitely out. He had the epidermal shot to his spine. He was having back issues this week. So to be honest with you, it's good just to rest him for the week. Let him have the extra rest, get better. So I'm expecting, Maro Ojomo is probably going to be suited up this week. He hasn't suited up. I don't think he's suited up for a game yet this year at all. The Eagles are very high on Maro Ojomo right now and being very disruptive as he is. I thought he had a good offseason this year. So it might be to that effect. Kadavius Street will get a lot of reps, and I think you just got to give more reps to Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter if they feel like they're up to it, and that's perfectly fine because Jalen Carter's really not playing that many reps in these games. He's not. He's doing so much with the snaps that he is given. So I think we'll be fine. Fletcher Cox I think he's leading the league in quarterback hits right now. He's doing a really good job this year. So we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, Fletch being out is definitely a loss for this defensive line. But I don't think it makes us crumble on the defensive line. I don't think it does. I think the Eagles could still get pressure with this defensive line regardless. But Fletcher Cox and Jalen Carter, we'll see who lines up next to Jalen Carter. Maybe it'll be Jordan Davis. I don't know. But they have to keep a nice balance between the first two lines. So you can't put too much strength with your first line, and then your rotation is not really that good. So I think they have to keep Jordan Davis on the second line and maybe move Street up or move somebody else up for against the run. So we'll see what happens. But losing Fletch is definitely a loss, but I'm not going to make a big deal about it either because, I think they could still handle it. I think just giving somebody else more reps is going to be fine. Some of these guys aren't getting that many reps. So if there's one game where you have to give somebody more reps, then I'm good with it, Now, I want to talk about the NFC East in general. Washington lost to the Bears, the winless Bears the other day, 40-20. DJ Moore had 8 catches for 230 yards. I think the Bears scored 27 points, I think, in the first half. They scored 2 field goals and a touchdown in the second half, I think. You got to look at this for the NFC East this week, Washington already lost. This could be the second time this year where the Eagles win the weekend, where the Eagles could be the only winners on Sunday. Now, I don't care about this. I'm just looking at it from afar because the Giants got to play the Bills in Miami the next couple weeks. Okay, so unless the Giants just make magic and win against the Bills this week. I think they have the Bills, not the Miami Dolphins. And the Cowboys are going to have a bloodbath game against San Francisco. I think both fan bases are kind of scared of each other right now of both teams, but they're not admitting it right now. I feel like, the Cowboys need to get the monkeys off their backs with San Francisco as much as, I don't like San Francisco at all. I think we can all agree with that, and we'll have our time with them later on this season. But this game is in San Francisco, and the Cowboys have, they got to play their A game this game. I don't think the 49ers have looked fantastic either because even when the 49ers, even a couple games they've played, I don't think Purdy has looked great. I think there's been drop picks. I think there's been a lot of issues with Purdy at times, but still slinging the ball well. And a great weapons on the offense, great defense, and the Cowboys, got to put points on the board. Can that defense hold up, and will it be enough? I'm going to see what that team's all about. You know what I mean? To see what that game is going to look like going into Sunday. So it could be a loss. You never know. But I think there's a higher chance the Eagles could be the only winners this week. And, the Eagles got to take care of business at the end of the day. So I never really talk about it, but, it could happen, the second time this year where the Eagles are on top still with everyone else losing. So, Washington. And the thing is, I got to say this, okay? The Bears have nothing to lose. The most dangerous team in the league is a winless team that has nothing to lose. Okay, these winless teams, everyone's going to think it's easy. They got to put up a fight sometime, and I feel like, I felt like Washington took them lightly in the first half, and I felt like things were going in the second half for them when it came to the run game, throwing some deep shots, getting guys open in open space. They missed a field goal, and then it turned on downs, and then, DJ Moore just had, a 56, 57-yard touchdown. I mean, just ridiculous. Kendall Fuller and Emmanuel Forbes just got another reality check this week, especially Emmanuel Forbes has done horrible these last 2 weeks. Keep your Twitter deactivated because, you're not playing. I think Emmanuel Forbes is a great player. I think he will be a great player in the future, but he's taking a beating right now off of some of the good receivers off of these teams, and a reality check is coming. That secondary ain't looking too great, and the Bears actually played pretty good. They played a lot of perimeter defense. They've been kind of what the Eagles do, where they don't want to give up the big play. They were doing that mostly the second half, but they were able to score points on top of what they were doing, so it really did help. So 40 points, I mean, to get 40 points scored on you from a winless team really shows that, the Bears really woke up. Will it happen the rest of the year? I don't know. Is Washington a bad team now? No. I just think they took them lightly and, they got their butts whooped. This is why I tell you, stack the wins. Because this is a game where if you lose a game against a winless Bear team, okay, it is going to haunt you later on when you try to get into playoff contention or something. Like, these are the games you have to win that you wish you could take back. And unfortunately, the Bears dominated. I just can't, that's just what it is. But other than that, it's pretty much it. We went over some of the, some of the injuries for the Eagles, what the Rams are dealing with right now. The Rams, like I said, have the past 3 weeks have not been outscored by multiple touchdowns. They've literally been, 6 or, 7 or less points winning games, you know what I mean, or losing. They've been very close the whole entire season. I think they did I think they killed Seattle, I think, in their first game, like 30-14 or something like that. So, we'll see what happens, but I think the matchups definitely favor us. And I think if Cooper Kupp shows up 100% healthy, I think the Eagles really need to figure out what they're doing with the nickel spot. I don't know if Bradley Roby's playing. I think that's the biggest question because we might have to deal with a Josh Jobe on the outside. We're going to have to deal with Bradbury playing on the inside again just for one more week. But I would really like them to throw Roby in there so we don't have this issue this week and keep this thing rolling. So becoming 5-0 is big for the Eagles this week, and just keep stacking these wins. I don't care how they win. I think the Eagles have found ways to win games when they've dealt with adversity. They've had come from behind wins. They've won in overtime, ugly wins. Some ugly wins that, us fans, sometimes don't appreciate just because, is this offense going to look up to par this week? Because really before the Miami game, or when we get to that point, this offense, I want this offense to look stellar, and hopefully they do play better. Hopefully get some hits on Matt Stafford as well in this game. And I think we'll get more reps out of some of the defensive linemen. I think the rotation. Some guys are going to have to play some extra reps at DT just because Fletcher is not playing. So should be interesting. You guys let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of this matchup in general, what the score will be. What do you think? What we have to take advantage of in this game, or do you think the offense will be up to par and play a little bit better than they have the last 4 weeks? I know it's a tough task. I felt like they played well. I think even Tampa Bay at times, even this last game that they played, I thought they played pretty good. And Washington was a good team. So, let me know. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up? Follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.